Bix Weir, road to Roota.com with your morning horn of Z's, your sip of coffee. I'm going to go cold today, as in go through the Zerohedge news without looking at it first, taking notes, doing a little research. Usually I get up early and do a little of that, so I'm not like absolutely clueless when I hit an article. But today I'm going to be absolutely clueless on some of these. But it'll be interesting to see how well the road to Roota theory applies on the fly. So anyway, let's go top left on Zerohedge. Mueller and Comey's BFF status very bothersome. Of course, they both work for the deep state. There's so much dirt on Mueller and Comey, and their ties to the Clinton Foundation, the Clinton, crime family. So yeah, he's not an independent investigator. Everybody knows it, and he's hiring all these Democrats as lawyers to investigate. I mean, deep state people. So at some point, Trump's got to throw him out. Of course, the left's going to go crazy. Will there be a civil war because of it? No, it'll give CNN something to talk about again because they're running out of news. So get rid of them. Even expose some of the stuff to make sure that everybody knows that he is conflicted, massively conflicted. And he should have recused himself in the very beginning, but he didn't. So we'll see how that goes. Donald Trump just signaled the death of the dollar. This is the first time we have a president-elect say the dollar has gone too far. Mark Chandler, chief exchange strategist, Brown Brothers Harriman. Ooh, Brown Brothers Harriman. That's a criminal organization. Grandpa Bush, Prescott Bush, was a member of Brown Brothers Harriman. I believe they were the ones who helped finance the Nazis in the beginning. Just go through the history of the Bush family. And actually, their real last name, I think, is Schiff. Do some research on that if you're interested in the Bushes. We don't talk about the Bushes much because they kind of disappeared into the background, but they're still very much. Bush Sr. is kind of the head of one of the factions of the bad guys, but I don't even know if he's still alive anymore. He was in the hospital last I heard. He'll be dying off just like all the other old oligarchs have died off. Good riddance to that family. And there's no one underneath that really could do the kind of damage that Bush Sr. did, and Grandpa Bush did. And it's funny how they get, as it goes down the chain, the power and the criminality stays, but the ability to do anything about it kind of fades. And there's another Bush brother in the background. I forgot his name. Not Jeb and not George Jr., but there's another one out there who's the brains of the children out there doing criminal acts behind the scenes. I forgot his name, though. You can check that out. Look it up. All right. The left melts down after Trump declares there are no Comey tapes. The biggest meltdown since Trump took 2 scoops. Whether or not there's tapes or not, I mean, so what? He says his tweet was, he better hope there's no tapes. Trump's tweeting is probably the most useful tool to rile up the other side and get them going down a different path. And, if they jump up and down, oh my God, there's no tapes. There's nothing illegal about having no tapes. If he had tapes, they would say it would be illegal if he had tapes. So it's insane what's going on in Washington. Keep an eye on it, though, because it's important for the freedom of our country. It's important to understand when the takedown of the banks is going to happen as well. So we're getting closer and closer, inching our way there. Former State Department and CIA employee arrested, charged with federal espionage. Thank God. The deep state is being exposed for what they are. And when the big names come out, then there'll be basically the floodgates will be open to arrest all of them. Any and all. Some are completely guilty. Some are just guilt by association. Some have been blackmailed into doing things that they otherwise wouldn't have done. It'll be interesting to see who's dragged to the mat and who isn't. But clearly something is going on behind the scenes. All right, let's get to the meat. Trump explains why he bluffed on Comey tapes. Blasts Mueller's hiring of Clinton supporters. Yes, obviously. But I didn't tape, and I don't have any tapes, and I didn't tape. But when he found out that there may be tapes out there, whether it's governmental tapes or anything else, who knows, I think his story may have changed. But you'll have to determine for yourself whether or not his story changed. See, that was Trump's whole idea. By saying, hey, I have tapes, Mueller can't, or Comey couldn't lie through his teeth. He had to like bend the truth and massage the truth, trying to remember what he said. Comey doesn't remember exactly what he said either. So it's pretty good. Brilliant move by Trump again. It doesn't come down to Trump. Or Comey would have said Trump demanded that I what was he demanding? That I drop the case on Flynn. He would have said that, but when Trump threw out the tape thing, he's like, "Oh shit, I can't lie, but I gotta." I kind of remember the conversation. I'll make up a memo. I'll do that. I'll write it and I'll leak it. What else can I do? What else can I do? I can bend the truth a little bit. Behind the scenes, the criminality is epic. Epic. Great move by Trump. And now he's done with the whole taping thing. He doesn't have to say he's got anything on tape because Comey already testified that he was not given an order by Trump. I mean, literally from what he said, no. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes from here, but that's a great move by Trump again. Yep. Delaware professor says rich, white, clueless male Warmbier got exactly what he deserves. Unbelievable. It's incredible what the left has gotten totally out of control and militant. And I am so much more scared for my country because of the left than the white supremacist right, as they like to call them. The left is, it's one of those things. I said it a while ago. If you give people stuff, which they've been doing for the last 8 years, and you try to take it away, that's when they get all pissed off. Had they never gotten the stuff, they wouldn't be pissed off as much. But because you gave everybody everything from free healthcare to free cell phones to free food stamps and all that stuff, because you gave it all to them, they expect it, and they expect more. And when you take it away, that's when it gets ugly, and that's where we're headed. McDonald's is replacing 2,500 human cashiers with digital kiosks. Here's the math. Yes, our whole world, we are shifting, and this gets to the cryptos. We're shifting from a society that is not run by humans, really. It's technology is going to shape our future, and the things that the menial tasks are all going to be taken over by the computers. And theoretically, it should leave time, energy, and money to the more important things to fulfill your soul instead of working for the man. And it will if we destroy the monetary system. If you make all debt go away and everybody's on an even playing field, then that would be a great thing. And reallocate money, whatever it is, Bitcoin or gold or silver, whatever we decide to use, we the people in the U.S., we get the decision. We can go back to the Constitution, which is obviously gold and silver. Or we can, use Bitcoin, which I'm in favor of. It's a great technology, but the world of business is moving to that direction too. The business model has changed. No longer will it be run by the very centralized control of the corporations and the big central banks. It's going to be run by the people, by the cryptocurrencies, by truth and honesty. Amazing formation, change in the way we're going to do business in all around the world with trust and honesty through the blockchain technology. That's what the blockchain technology is. It's an open source ledger. It is. You can't lie, you can't cheat, you can't steal. And the people currently in charge of all the money and all the corporations don't know how to deal in that kind of world. So they're going to have to come. They're going to come sooner or later, and it's starting now. Those awake and aware are starting to understand the changes happening, and the big money is now getting into these ICOs, the initial coin offerings, and wreaking havoc. I talk about that in the Friday road trip that will be posted a little later this afternoon. I got some stuff I still want to do on the Ethereum flash crash that happened yesterday. Ethereum went down to 10 cents on Coinbase. and it's not a weakness in Ethereum. It's a weakness in Coinbase, but all exchanges work the same way. And it's also a huge manipulation, and clearly someone was out to wreak havoc on the system during there was two big ICOs going on, and havoc was wreaked. But if you look at Coinbase now, or you look at Ethereum now, it's starting to do quick operations, and it's pretty much recovered. So yeah, great time to buy Ethereum. It'll be here for a long, long time. And remember to get involved in these ICOs. These hedge funds and banksters and central banks and anybody who wants to get involved has to buy Ethereum first. And so when an ICO goes off, they buy it. These are the ones that are utilizing the Ethereum platform. They got to buy Ethereum, then they can get their ICO, and then the Ethereum is usually either saved or spent on the other side with the new company that got the Ethereum with the ICO. So there's going to be low volatility, and we've seen it, obviously. But remember, these hedge funds and everybody wanting in, the big money's not in yet in the cryptos, believe it or not. But when they want in, and they want to get in on these ICOs that can be very lucrative, they're going to have to buy Ethereum. And so you've seen the Ethereum price, I think it dropped down to 10 cents on Coinbase. And now it's, $330, and I expect... I had Bitcoin nearing $10,000 by the end of the year. I would say Ethereum 10 to 1 plus, so it's $1,000 by the end of the year. So it should at least triple in my estimation, at least. But the more of these ICOs that come out, these are new coin offerings. These are companies. A lot of them are companies being built to facilitate the new infrastructure of new business. You're going to see everybody trying to get their hands on some Ethereum, even just to participate in the ICOs. So yeah, very exciting time. Yeah, that's the news. Oh, I do have an announcement to make. We're doing another Three Amigos chat this weekend. Myself, Cliff High, and Jay Snip4, Joe. Lots to talk about. Couple victory laps on some things that are going on in all our lives now that we've got into the cryptos, and we're all still stacking silver. But definitely with the cryptos, it's rare you get to do a victory lap, so I plan on doing a victory lap in that discussion, and it'll probably be posted on Monday or Tuesday in 2 parts. So keep an eye out for that. Those are always fun. All right. I'm kind of dragging on because I'm just figuring all these out right now. Home sales rebound from April collapse as median price hits all-time highs. The reality with housing, and the people in housing can argue all they want. They love to say it's the best investment of the world. It's been the best investment since the initiation of free money since 1913. It is both the devaluation of money and the ease of access to money that drives housing prices up. The ease of access is the biggest. That's where you get the bubbles in houses and things like that. Everybody takes a loan out to buy a house because they think it's going to go up and go up forever. The reality is, if the banks can't loan you money, your house goes to 10% of its value today. And that's because no one can buy a house with cash. No one except cryptocurrency owners. But that's just the reality. The housing market is 100% contingent upon the bank's ability to lend. So if you look at the banks and you look at the derivative positions on the big banks, the too big to fail banks, and you say, oh, that's not going to be a problem, then yeah, go buy a house. If you think it's going to be a problem, I would buy the cryptos, I would buy silver, and then after the housing market crashes, because the banks can't lend, after the banks crash, you can go scoop up all these houses, rows and rows and streets of houses, and put your name on it if you want to, if that's what you're into. Martin Armstrong, his analysis says we've already passed the peak, and the housing market will bottom out in 2036. So if you're looking at time the bottom, go back to wait till 2036 and then buy. He says the housing prices will go down somewhere around where they were in the 1950s. So sobering, and from Martin Armstrong, who's a real smart guy. So we'll see what goes on with housing. But then again, housing as a place to live, yeah. I mean, the houses are beautiful. All the amenities are unbelievable. And people have been trading up and doing well. So everybody needs a place to live. Rents are going through the roof too. So, who knows where you want to be and how you want to play that game. But you need a place to live. So if you're into housing as an investment, I'd say run away. If you're into housing as I want a nice place to live while I live my life, yeah, go for it. And I think both Cliff and Joe will have something to say about that in the talk this weekend. The hope trade is over. Bank of America slashes its 2017 GDP forecast to just 2.1%. Hopes for the big financial stimulus have faded, prompting us to reverse our 2018 GDP growth forecast 2.1 down from 2.5. While growth will be slower, it is important to remember that the economy does not need stimulus to expand. Without manipulation, everything falls apart. And right now we're witnessing the biggest manipulation, even bigger than the Obama administration. But they had to. I mean, Obama administration left Trump with a time bomb called the bubble in housing and bonds and in almost everything you can imagine, except silver and cryptocurrencies. So Trump's, to continue on forward, he's had to up the rigging, market rigging out of the basement of the U.S. Treasury. They have an electronic trading floor in the basement of the U.S. Treasury, where they click mouses, buy, sell, whatever they need to do to control the markets. It's amazing that it's gone on so long, and our enemies have never caught on. That's the amazing thing. Oh my God! If our enemy, North Korea or Venezuela or whoever doesn't like the United States, all you gotta do is go buy physical silver, and the game is over. But why doesn't anybody do it? Well, we'd probably bomb them. Invent a reason to bomb them. But yeah, I mean, it's so easy to take down the United States. Just keep buying physical silver and jack the price up to $1,000 an ounce, and then you got the silver shorts that would be destroyed, and those are the too big to fail banks, and then every bank fails. So maybe that's why they're not doing it. It's kind of like the nuclear standoff. It's assured financial destruction if the price of silver goes to $1,000 an ounce, because the large shorts are the commercial too big to fail banks. And they fail, everything fails. So, yeah, who's going to pull that trigger? I don't know. But it's got to be pulled someday, if you ask me. Trump will probably pull the trigger. When all the chaos happens in Washington, with everybody going to jail for their past crimes, I think the COMEX and the LBMA will shut down, and we'll be looking for a new place to have a market. One of the best places I can imagine is using Reggie Middleton's Veritasium, as a peer-to-peer cryptocurrency to start a free and open and honest silver exchange. Who's got the well, it would take some work to put it together, and I don't have that time, energy, and effort. I had talked to Cliff High about starting in a crypto. It's not a cryptocurrency. It's a company that would work on the Ethereum blockchain. It was just too much work. I mean, you need employees, you need all kinds of things to get this stuff up and running. But if someone out there is ingenious and loves silver and wants to fix the markets, yeah, go out there and start a physical silver exchange using Veritasium as a peer-to-peer answer to bypassing the COMEX and the LBMA. Go for it! Somebody's going to do it. If you got the energy, you might as well be the first mover. All right, let's see if there's anything more exciting. Caught on video, Russian ships subs fire cruise missiles at ISIS targets in Syria. The only thing I like to say about the Syria-Russia thing and the U.S. is I believe that Putin and Trump are working together. So no matter what you hear in the mainstream, there needs to be a lot of saber rattling still against the Russia thing, because the Democrats still are going to trumpet that idea. That's their last thing. That they have nothing else. But when they go to jail for the criminal, CNN should be thrown in jail for sedition for trying to overthrow a sitting president, if you ask me. But hey, everybody gets away with everything in Washington, and the good guys, my biggest complaint with them is they're not running an honest system now. They're still rigging the markets, and they're not putting people in jail who obviously should be in jail. John Podesta is a great example. I can't believe that guy is still walking free. I think he's still walking free. I don't know. Maybe he is in jail, but if he's not in jail, I don't know who in the world would belong in jail. Yeah, that guy is just a sick criminal. Anyway, moving on. Let's find one more to end on here. Is Bitcoin money? Understanding money is the key to understanding the value of decentralized electronic currency. I'm actually going to click on that one. Up 158% since, of course I get the ads. Up 158% since the US dollar, against the US dollar this year. Bitcoin is now the best performing currency. Woohoo, Bitcoin. Yes, it is a currency, my friends, and it will be the best currencies when the banks go down. When the derivative bubble goes off, it'll probably be the very best currency. So all of those who say, no, it's not a currency, it will be when the banks go down. Many are confused to how this mathematical protocol can be worth more than $2,600 and why it keeps going up. The short answer, Bitcoin is money. Just a little better and cheaper than the alternatives. Bravo! Who is this? Oh, he's probably a techie guy. If you don't understand money, you cannot understand Bitcoin. For most of us, money is the US dollar, the fiat currency of the United States, issued by the Federal Reserve and maintained by the commercial banking system. But even this system is confusing. Most people don't hold Federal Reserve notes anymore. They hold money in checking accounts or use their credit cards to buy things. This is electronic fiat money stored on the servers of banks like JP Morgan, Chase, and Bank of America. So true, my friends. It is not only that, it's an IOU. It is a IOU stored by the criminal banks. This type of money is a great medium of exchange. Because the state mandates the acceptance of fiat money by all commercial actors, you can pay everywhere with dollars, and as a bonus, the prices of consumer goods seldom change more than a few % per year. Well, the reason that is because they rig the price of all the inputs: gold, silver, copper, lead, oil, you name it. If they want the price of things to go down, that's all they got to do. Other attributes that make the dollar useful as a medium of exchange are divisibility, recognizability, indestructibility, at least in electronic form, and the ease with which it can be exchanged. Look at the purchasing power of the dollar. This is a great article. These are the kind of articles everybody should read. However, there is a problem with the dollar as a medium of exchange over time. Since the creation of the Federal Reserve in 1913, the dollar has lost about 95% of its purchasing power. The devaluation is hardly visible over the course of days, months, and even years, but is painfully felt over the span of decades. It's so hard, if not impossible, to exchange the same value over time with the US dollar, and investors need to expose themselves to other assets to protect purchasing power. This is a general problem of fiat currencies and bank money, which are both prone to mismanagement by the state and banks, mostly because they can be reproduced at will. More dollars chasing the same amount of goods leads to rising prices, as long as it's not rigged. I would add that caveat. This is good, though. This is exactly what we've been talking about on the road to Roota since we didn't even have Bitcoin. All we had was gold and silver, and this is the same argument. Value over time. This is the reason why people have traditionally resorted to... I should have written this article. This is why people have traditionally resorted to gold to protect themselves from monetary inflation. Gold is also easy recognizable, divisible, durable, and concentrates a lot of value in a little space. 1 troy ounce costs about $1,250. Yes, $1,250 is a rigged price. Yes, I think the price of gold should be much higher, but I don't think the scarcity issue is exactly what they're talking about. And I'm sure he'll get the scarcity pretty soon. However, its uses as legal tender have been limited since the demise of a true gold standard at the beginning of the 20th century. It is not easily transferred in physical form like the electronic dollar. Furthermore, its price is relatively volatile when measured in dollars in the short term, and the IRS collects tax on gains in dollars, making gold even less exchangeable. But gold cannot be replicated at will, and therefore is a better way of exchanging value over time. $1 bought almost 20 bottles of Coca-Cola. In the 1930s, it now buys less than one. 1 ounce of gold bought 700 bottles of Coke in the 1930s. It now buys almost 800. What? 1 ounce of gold bought 700 bottles of Coke in the 1930s. It now buys almost 800. What are they talking about? I have no idea what they're talking about on that one. Anyway, decentralized electronic money. Once one understands that money needs to be able to exchange value in time and space, it's easier to see why Bitcoin is so attractive. Although it cannot handle as many transactions as the banking system, that is true at the moment. That will change. It is relatively easy and cheap to transfer. Hundreds of thousands of businesses and individuals voluntarily, that's the key, voluntarily accept Bitcoin as payment. Its mathematical properties are recognizable, infinitely divisible, and indestructible as a medium of exchange, mainly because of legal tender laws. Bitcoin is not as widely accepted as the dollar for other fiat currencies, but it is easier to transfer than gold and is also subject to taxation. There's the rise in Bitcoin. That's a nice little rise there. Those are the glory days so far. In the long term, Bitcoin has similar properties to gold because it cannot be replicated at will, and the number of coins is limited to 21 million. That is the key. I think that is the reason why Bitcoin is even better than gold. Bitcoin is always stuck at 21 million total coins that will be produced and mined. They estimate, I think it's 2,140 is when the last Bitcoin will be mined. Whereas gold is, the supply is unlimited. Now let me, before you say unlimited, you call me on that, let me explain what I'm saying. We've been told there's about 180,000 tons of gold that's ever been mined in the world. That's a lie. It's a complete lie. That was a lie fomented by the Goldfields Mineral Services back in the 1960s. The De Beers family made up that lie. And I know there's a lot of people who try to argue with me on this, and just do the research. Read Gold Warriors by the Seagraves about Yamashita's gold. 300,000 tons of gold that was hidden in the Philippines. And that was in the 1930s and 40s. That book alone, with all the documentation that goes behind it, before anybody starts to argue with me, read the book and get the documents behind the book, and you'll understand why it's such a huge thing. And then we got the Nazi gold and the Chinese royal family gold. And we got the gold at Chocolate Mountain in California. Go to the Road to Roota website and read Golden Secrets, an article I wrote. Gigantic. The largest gold find ever is in Chocolate Mountain in a military base now, and then surrounded by a desert wildlife preserve thanks to Dianne Feinstein. So much gold out there. And the Grand Canyon gold is the reason the Federal Reserve was created in 1913. Huge, massive, billions and billions of ounces were found in the Grand Canyon. In the early 1900s, it was announced on the front page of the New York Times it was going to change the world, and then all of a sudden the Grand Canyon gets locked up. You can't go there. They estimate over 95% of all the caves within the Grand Canyon have not been explored because they are off limits to any hikers, any travelers, anybody wandering around. You can't go there. You're not allowed. It's crazy what's going on in the Grand Canyon. Let the people in. Show us what's in there. Supposedly there's a huge military base in there, pulling out all these Egyptian artifacts. All kinds of things going on in the Grand Canyon. I'm working on a book on that right now. And the Federal Reserve is highly, deeply involved in it, in the Grand Canyon. So you tell me why the Federal Reserve is involved in the Grand Canyon, and it has a lot to do with the 1934 gold bonds that everybody accepted back in the, trillions of dollars in gold bonds back in the 1930s, gold backed. And it has everything to do with the gold in the Grand Canyon. Lots of mysteries out there in gold. Anyway, moving on. And then when I say gold is unlimited, we can mine gold under the water. That's more gold that's available. We can go to asteroids. That's more gold. We can go to every planet in the solar system. Each planet probably has a lot of gold. Some planets more than others. How about every planet in the universe? So the scarcity of gold is there, but it is questionable about how scarce it is today. And it is unlimited on the amount of gold that could ever be found. Yes, it'll cost more and more money to find it. But with Bitcoin, it's completely the opposite. 21 million coins, that's it. bonk, done. To me, the scarcity issue is blown away. Gold gets blown away by Bitcoin. I'm sure, well, let's just finish it off. This means that Bitcoin is better than the dollar for transferring purchasing power through time. It is similar to gold, although gold is far longer track record. That's true. And Bitcoin can have a track record because it was just invented in 2009. Its decentralized management is another factor making it attractive for people who distrust fiat currency and banks. Very interesting. The banks don't even trust each other. So yeah, they're going to move to cryptocurrencies too. Central banks don't trust each other. So central banks will be printing money to buy Bitcoin as well and the cryptocurrencies. Crazy. Cheap alternative. Given that Bitcoin is better than gold in the short term and much better than the dollar in the long term across the dimensions we have described, it is not surprising that people choose to diversify their money holdings into this independent currency due to frustration with the mismanagement of fiat money and manipulation of gold prices. Bravo! Love this article. There's another reason why Bitcoin is attractive as a currency. Despite its record high in dollar terms, it is still cheap in aggregate. All Bitcoins are only worth $43 billion. All gold ever mined is worth about $7.5 to $10 trillion, although estimates vary. As for the US dollar, just the M2 measure of bank money, including checking accounts, plus it's worth at 13.5 trillion. If Bitcoin were to establish itself as an alternative currency and the store of value alongside gold and the dollar, a total valuation of $1 trillion would not be inconceivable. That's $47,600 per coin. I think that's for starters, if you ask me. Yes, bravo, great article. I think the only thing at the end is the alternatives to the US dollar that have been invented in the last 30, 40 years, the derivative market. So you can add quadrillions to that, and then you'd see I do see Bitcoin hitting a price of at least $1 million per Bitcoin within the next 2-3 years. What, Bix? What are you talking about? Yes, as the banks collapse, Bitcoin will be sitting there just waiting for humanity, saying, "Use me. I'm here to be used." Anyway, this is Bix Weir, road2roota.com. Make sure you thumbs up this video. 2 thumbs up. Wait, no. If you click it twice, then it goes off. So 1 thumbs up for this video, and post it anywhere you want and send it to all your friends. This is the morning Horn of Z's, your news for the day. We'll talk to you later. Oh, don't forget, we got the Friday road trip coming out for private road members. Go to road2roota.com and sign up for the private road. You get $30 in, I'm giving away Ethereum right now. $30 paper copy Ethereum mailed to your front door. We'll talk to you later.